Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. Now, would you believe I've had my Porsche 2 years? And that means that, well, there's a possibility that I could be in a good place to look at what my next car is. So I've traveled all the way up to Birmingham to visit my good friends at Lillian Stanley Finance to not only have a look at the options I have for maybe moving on from the Porsche into something else, but I also wanted to do a video just generally about car finance. The pros, the cons, the pitfalls, the things to look out for, the things that you might not always see when you're watching YouTube videos and you see these people buying these very expensive cars and moving on from them 3 to 6 months later. You don't realize just how expensive that could be. So let's head on inside, meet Matt, and talk more about car finance in general, how Lillian Stanley have helped me over the last couple of years, and what the options are for maybe moving on from Lady P into another car. This video could be very, very dangerous. I have to start this video with a legal disclaimer. Lillian Stanley Financial Services Limited is authorised and regulated by the FCA. They are a credit broker, not a lender, and they will receive commission from lenders. However, this will not affect how much you pay. Finance subject to status and income. Terms and conditions apply. Now it's time for the video. Now then guys, welcome to the headquarters of Lillian Stanley Finance. This is Matt from Lillian Stanley. Good to see you again, dude.
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. You?
Excellent. Yes, very good. It's nice to be here. We've been talking about doing this video for a long time.
Yep.
And you've got this amazing office, and I'm loving it because there's lots of lovely car memorabilia on the walls.
There is.
And lots of Paul Oz artwork, which I'm, yeah.
Bit of Paul Oz artwork.
You can't beat a bit of Paul Oz, can you?
Bit of Ferrari, bit of Porsche.
I know, right?
Our clubhouse, which is obviously a great venue for us to have our car meets at as well. So.
Yeah, very, very cool. So what I want to do in this video is, I've kind of mentioned already, I am in that position where moving on from my car is now becoming, that itch has started. You know, once you only look at Auto Trader once, then that's it.
Yep.
It's started. But I wanted to talk about car finance. I worked with you to finance my Boxster 2 years ago now, which I can't believe it's 2 years.
Goes so quick, doesn't it?
But honestly, that process of what many people find quite intimidating, and I always feel like I'm being, car finance is waiting to trip you up. You're going to sign a piece of paperwork that's going to end up costing you lots and lots of money.
Yeah.
And when I did the finance deal, when I bought my Boxster, I just didn't feel like that at all. The process was so open and honest and transparent.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was being helped to make the right decisions, which is super important.
Yeah, it's very important to us here at Lillian Stanley, and that's how we like to operate, as you say. Very open, honest and transparent process.
So you do car finance, but the thing you've also started doing, because I arrived today and there's a couple of very nice cars outside, is you also have recently started doing car sourcing and sales.
That's it, yeah. So a sister side to our business, we've got Arden Collective. And what we've been really kind of successful in doing is, with our database of customers, along with the kind of high-end prestige and performance cars, the supercars that we finance, is being able to offer an option where we can sell somebody's car for them. A lot of times we can offer them more than a part exchange value, and also on the other hand, you've got private sale, which some people don't like to do. You're not always sure who you've got coming around to your house, how they're paying for it. Takes that stress away.
It always seems like a really good idea when you look at how much you could get for your car privately, and then the process is painful.
Yeah, it is. It's not always the best. So we can offer an alternative there to part exchange and private sale. And then the other thing that we've been doing is, so with our database of customers, our network of contacts, sourcing cars for customers as well. So we might get a customer that reaches out to us for finance. The discussion evolves, and before long, we've actually found them their dream car, financed it as well, offering everything really in a one-stop kind of shop, really.
Might be having a conversation about that a bit later. So now, okay, so I want to have a chat about finance, because I have a real bugbear, and that is when you see it on the internet, on YouTube in particular, all the time, and I've even seen it at manufacturer car launches and so on, where there's this focus on the monthly payment.
Yep.
being the only figure that's important. So I thought it'd be really interesting. Now, I've done the disclaimer already. We have to be a little bit careful of how we talk about things and what examples we use for legal reasons.
Yeah.
But I want to try and be as honest as we can as well. So I guess car purchasing, I'm going to kind of ask you some questions as you are my finance expert. First option, buy the car cash.
Yep.
Which is as simple as it seems. And I did that with my Mini, my Ruby Roadster. I built up some equity in a previous car. I put in a little bit more from savings, and I walked in and I paid £21,000 cash.
Yep.
It's my car, no mileage limits, off you go.
Restrictions.
It is the best feeling in the world when you pick up a car
and you
own it outright.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The challenge with that is you need the money. And I guess if you're buying a car that's, some people's budget might be £5,000 or £10,000, you may well have the ability to save that kind of money up.
Yep.
If you're buying a car like we're looking at, 50, 60, 70, £80,000 or higher, you may well be in a fortunate position where you have that money in a bank account, but you might be better off putting it somewhere else and investing or something.
Yeah, that's it. Get a better return on
therefore,
your money.
Financing comes into it, or you might not have the money and you need to borrow the money.
Yeah.
So the next option would be hire purchase.
Yep. Okay. So hire purchase is very popular with customers that are perhaps looking to keep something long term.
Yeah.
It might be part of a car collection, or as you said, just a car that they want to keep for a long time. So with hire purchase, we can very easily just work with a deposit to suit the customer's needs and requirements. And then typically we can fund over a 2, 3, 4 or 5 year term, depending on the age and the actual type of vehicle. We've got many bespoke plans with our lenders. So, kind of classic cars is quite a popular option that people tend to take on hire purchase. And then you fund the balance, own it at the end. There's no final balloon payment. There's no mileage restriction. Away you go. It's yours to enjoy.
And it's yours to do. And I did that. In fact, the car before the Mini was an Audi TT. I bought that on HP, 3 year term. End of the term, it was my car.
Yep.
I kept it for another year, and then I had the equity in the car, moved that on to another finance agreement. So that's fine. Now, HP for me, I'm not so sure, I'm going to keep the car forever. And also because it's quite an expensive car, the monthly figures tend to be quite high.
Yeah, they are on the higher side because you're paying all of the capital off rather than, having a balloon and interest, of course.
Okay.
That as well. So
then the next option, I'm going to ignore pure leasing where you just basically rent the car. We're not going to talk about that. Because
it's not something we offer.
Yeah, it's not something that these guys offer. And so you can, with some companies, you literally just pay a monthly fee and effectively rent the car.
Yep.
And that might include servicing and tyres and stuff. We're going to kind of put that to one side. But we are going to talk about PCP. And then you also got HP with a balloon or contract lease.
Lease purchase.
Lease purchase.
Yeah,
I knew I was going to get this wrong.
Yeah.
But they're very similar.
They are very similar. Yeah.
Where I put some money in, a deposit. I pay monthly instalments over however long the year, 2, 3, 4 years. And then at the end, then there's a balloon payment.
That's it.
And then if you want to keep the car, you pay the balloon off, keep the car, it's yours.
Yep.
Or you can move that and you go and buy something else.
Yeah, that's it.
So talk to us a bit about the intricacies of that then, because...
Yep. So PCP and hire purchase with balloon, or lease purchase as it's also known as, they are very similar products. We work with an initial car, a deposit to suit, and then we base it on a term and annual mileage to suit the customer's needs and requirements. Both options have a balloon. The only difference between the two is with a PCP, you've got a guaranteed minimum future value. So you've got protection at the end of that if the market was to crash. Electric cars, for instance.
I was going to say, what, you bought an electric car?
You've bought an electric car, there's been a drastic change in the market. That value is guaranteed. You get to the end of the term, you haven't got to worry about that. Hand the keys back to the lender and walk away from it. There's some little restrictions there in terms of, wear and tear and annual mileage, but, all of this would be outlined at the beginning. Or the other option you've got is the hire purchase with balloon or lease purchase option, which is probably our most popular product here at Lillian Stanley Finance with the types of cars that we work with. So the higher end prestige and supercars. And they are really great because those types of cars don't tend to depreciate as much as some of the mainstream cars. So we can achieve a really nice balloon and make it more affordable to own a more expensive car. The only difference being that balloon isn't a guaranteed balloon. So if you were to get to the end of the term, your options would be to pay off the balloon in full. You could refinance it, or of course you can sell the car and pay off the outstanding finance balance.
Yeah.
But we tend to find typically a lot of people don't get to the point where they're paying the balloon at the end. Really in
Here I'm sat right now. I thought I would be, but I'm not.
Agreement. Yeah, that's it. So the balloon is slightly less relevant because people aren't actually getting to the end of that term, and they're looking to change before that.
So I guess the elements with either of those two options that you can as a finance provider massage and move to some extent.
Yep.
So there's the amount of money I put down as a deposit. There's the monthly payment that I make each month.
Yep.
There's the balloon at the end. There's the interest rate that I'm charged on the amount of capital that I borrow.
Yep.
And by playing with all of those, you can adjust. Now, what happens generally is the monthly payment is the only number that people are interested in.
Yep.
And I'm going to say less honest or quality providers could play with those other things to make the monthly payment really attractive.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But
it might not be the best.
As someone once said to me, well, there's only one person going to do well out of a finance agreement, and that's the finance provider.
Yeah, you could argue that. Yeah.
So here's the thing. So one of the ways to get your monthlies down is to put more money in at the beginning. Am I right in thinking though that can not necessarily be the best idea?
A lot of it depends on the individual circumstances. We will always, so we're very open, honest and transparent with what we offer.
Yeah.
And we will always try and tailor and bespoke something to suit the individual's needs. So you could put more deposit in. That's great if perhaps you are looking to keep the car longer term, because again, you're paying off more capital initially.
Yeah.
But with many of our customers, maybe only looking to keep the car 2 or 3 years and then upgrade to something else. The itch comes along, Auto Trader's open, and away you go. We just work to something that suits the customer, but a balance between the deposit and the monthly payment, really.
Yeah. Is it also the case that some of these agreements might be front loaded with interest? So if you came out of them too early, then you're going to be at a disadvantage?
Yeah. So front loading, it was something that the FCA frowned upon.
Yeah.
You will find that you will pay more interest to begin with just because of how the agreement's set up. So, if you were looking to change quite soon into the agreement, you could find that you're in a negative position.
Yeah.
Because again, you've not started to pay off some of or more of the capital.
Yeah.
It really just depends on when you're looking to upgrade and the type of car.
Yeah, and that's where I get frustrated when people change the car after 6 months. And I think, well, it doesn't matter what your agreement's been structured like. After 6 months, that you still can't be in a strong position.
It's
and that's
very
why
rare.
I'm here after 2 years, and now I'm thinking, well, okay, I've been paying 2 years. I should be in an okay position.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Now, a couple of things have happened. Now let's start talking about my options for cars. A couple of things have happened in the last, I'm going to say, in one instance about 6 months, in another instance about a year and a half. So first things first, interest rates have changed significantly since I took my agreement out.
Sadly, yes.
Because I'm at, 5.9%?
5.9%.
I wish. And now, depending on where you go, you could be in, low teens, I guess, sort of 11, 12, 13.
Oh yeah, very.
Unless you come here.
Unless you come to Lillian Stanley Finance.
So one of the things that these guys are able to do is very, very competitive interest rates.
Yep.
And you could find that's 3-4 percentage points lower than main dealer finance.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been, again, extremely successful. We save people thousands of pounds daily in relation to funding through a main dealer. And a lot of people will walk into that main dealer, they see that headline figure that you were talking about, it looks affordable, They move forwards, they go with it. They're not aware that people like us can offer them a far more attractive package and save them so much money. What we tend to find with a lot of main dealerships is they will offer stronger balloons, but really all they're doing is masking the difference in terms of the APR, the higher APR that they're charging versus what we can offer. I'll give an example. There's certainly one manufacturer out there, and I normally offer what I call a win-win-win situation, where I can not only get a lower APR for the customer, I can get a lower monthly payment, but then also a lower balloon as well. So when the customer comes to do something in the future, whether that be at the end of the agreement or whether they look to change early, again, kind of in your circumstance, they're in a better position. They've paid more capital off rather than the interest, and then having that stronger balloon at the end to make the payment look more attractive. And we do a huge amount of business there where we take kind of funds from main dealers and save customers.
I guess we were talking off camera, the exception to the rule is there are some manufacturers out there that are currently offering 0% finance on some models, in which case, I mean,
it's
come
a
on.
no-brainer, isn't it? You tend to find that's more so on brand new cars.
Yeah.
Because the manufacturer needs to support the sale of those new cars, and they subsidise the rate to draw people in and sell the new cars. But it's quite rare.
So interest rates have gone up. So even if I were to go like for like and buy another car, because the interest rates are going up, that's going to affect whatever my finance agreement looks like on a new car. So that's the downside. The other downside is there's been a kind of rebalancing of the market in the last sort of 6 to 9 months. And that's hit some manufacturers harder than others, but
certain models.
I'm particularly looking at Porsche, and that means that my car is worth less than it would have been 6 months ago. The only upside is that means that any car I'm looking to buy has also changed. So really, it's painful in one respect, but it gives you opportunities in another. And the cars we're going to look at and do some figures on in a moment, I wouldn't have been able to look at those cars 6 months ago.
It's very relevant, isn't it, in terms of the way the market shifted.
So first things first, options for my car. So I have had a valuation on my car, and all these numbers are approximate, but I'm going to be as open and as transparent as I can be. I bought my car for about, I think it was £61,500, and I have had a trade-in value from Harbour Cars, where I bought the car, at £47,500. I've done 15,000 miles in 2 years. And my initial one was, because I know that would have been in the 50s 6 months ago, probably. But actually, in the grand scheme of things, over 2 years and that kind of mileage, I don't think I've done too badly, really.
2 years of enjoyment, you've had a great time with the car.
So that's good. So that's the trading value of my car, and then the guys have run a settlement figure for my finance agreement. So I put in a deposit, a £10,000 deposit, and I'm currently just over £2,000 in positive equity in my finance agreement. So I pay it off, and I've still got some of my deposit left. If you add those two things together, I'm at about £4,500 of money that I can now use for a deposit in a car. And this is assuming I don't do a better deal than selling my car for £47,500 and so on. So I'm actually...
You're in a great position.
I'm not in negative equity, people. This is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
So, because I came here today really worried I would be. So I'm in a good position. So what car am I going to look at? So I love my Boxster to bits. I have, though, first car we're going to look at is I still have a GT car itch. And
doesn't everybody?
I know, exactly, right. Cayman GT4s, we've just talked about the market rebalancing. They've come down to a point where they're actually very, very attractive.
Yeah, very affordable. We can put some really great numbers together on
GT4s. And Harbour Cars happen to have two amazing Cayman GT4s in stock at the moment, both 718s. One is in crayon, which is just dreamy,
can't go far,
amazing spec, and one is yellow. The crayon one's 85 grand, which is a bit punchy for me, but the yellow one is 75 grand, 5,000 miles on the clock, manual gearbox. That's some interesting car.
Yeah, it looks value, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Matt's run some numbers on a Cayman GT4.
I have. And the numbers on the Cayman GT4. So, based on a £10,000 deposit as per your previous fund.
Okay, so I'd have to put some money in, which is fair enough.
On top of the equity.
So 10 grand in.
Current car.
Yeah.
We've got a really great interest rate on this one. I've worked on a 4-year term. 10,000 annual miles. So if anything, we've probably erred on the side of caution there. and that one would come in at a shade under £1,000 a month, so £998
Oh no.
to be precise.
Now, if the interest rate hadn't changed, I
Yep.
know it's hypothetically speaking, that's going to be a couple £100 less than that. So, and that's really, really interesting. And,
It's a lot
actually,
of car.
one of the things Matt was saying is that's based on a balloon
Yep,
because this is a GT car.
it's a GT car. Yep.
Of all, there's no guarantees in the world, are there? But in terms of residual value, it kind of doesn't get a great deal better than a Porsche GT product.
No, and I'd argue that the balloon the lender has given is a very reserved balloon. With it being a GT car, I'll be honest, I don't anticipate that car reaching that balloon in 4 years' time. I still think it would be worth considerably more, given that it is a GT car. There is more work, as I've said. I can kind of massage and play around with that balloon if need be, but based on the standard numbers there, I think it's a really attractive proposition, and you'll be in a great position when it comes to doing something in the future.
This is where I was going to go, because I've just made a big thing about the fact that all anyone's interested in is the monthly figures. One of the challenges we have with doing any finance video is and I'll kind of round these numbers up and put them in the description below.
Yep.
It's not just that number, it's the total cost of ownership of that agreement.
Yeah,
and actually, when you look at that, it's, having just got 2 years into an agreement and being in the position I am, the reason I'm in that position is because we did the same process 2 years ago with you.
You got it right
and went
initially.
through all of those sensible decision-making processes.
Yeah.
So that's a Cayman GT4.
Cayman GT4.
So there are two issues with the Cayman GT4, however. Number one, it has a roof, and I do like my soft top motoring. I could look at a Spider, but I think they're a little bit more money.
They are a little bit more, yeah.
But also my Boxster, we love it to bits, but it isn't the best car to go away in when we've got the dogs because it's only a two-seater.
Yep.
So I thought I might run some numbers on a 911 because a 911 convertible has two little seats in the back for the dogs. And the amazing thing about this resettling of the market is 992 generation 911s have come down a lot.
They have. Yeah.
To the point where I could now actually think, well, that's and you could say, okay, I could do a 991.2 or even older, but my challenge with that, even if you look at a 991.2, they're 10-year-old cars.
Yeah.
And I can't get my head around spending this kind of money on a car that's 10 years old.
I think
it will be 14 years old at the end of the agreement.
That's it. Yeah, the 992 starts to look really good value. And I said to you earlier, I did this equation for a customer literally last week, looked at the 991, and the 992 just, there's very little difference in terms of the numbers.
So I found, and there's quite a few actually, there's a lovely one in Adventurine Green, which is beautiful, but I found one at a Porsche main dealer.
Yep.
And I'm also going for the Carrera 2S.
Yep.
But a Carrera 4S isn't a dissimilar amount of money, by the way. This one's got about 17,000 miles on the clock, so similar mileage to my current Boxster. And it was
81,490.
81.5 grand. Okay. For a Carrera, and this is like 450 PS, very nice spec.
Very usable
Very
car.
nice car. Oh my God.
And the dogs can go in the back.
And the dogs can go in the back. So, come on, Matt, hit me with it.
So interestingly, considering this is a higher value.
So it's 6.5 grand more.
Yep, than the GT4. Based on very similar parameters, so 10,000 deposit, 4-year term, 10,000 annual miles. I've got that coming in again, £999, so just a pound under £1,000 a month.
Oh wow!
So it's a fantastic car for £1,000 a month. Again, and that's with standard numbers. So there's probably a little bit of movement there if we wanted to play with the balloons.
Wow. Okay.
And get that down if you wanted to.
So,
what a predicament.
I've wanted to do a video on finance with you guys for 12 months, 18 months. I've been talking to Helen, and I thought this would be a great backdrop to do it. Unfortunately, it's like I've opened Pandora's box.
We'll be on Auto Trader again this afternoon.
I know. But that's really, really interesting numbers. And again, I need to say a few things. First up, I know I'm in a very fortunate position to be sat here, even thinking that £1,000 a month is an affordable option. And I know that. And there are many people, especially in the current economic climate, struggling to pay the bills and put food on the table. But in all seriousness, the number almost is irrelevant. It's the process that's the important thing. It's the understanding your personal circumstances financially, what your aims are for a car, and what you want to be looking like. And this is the bit I think people forget: what you want to be looking like in 2 years' time or 3 years' time.
It's not always the here and now, is it?
I know,
It's,
right?
Yeah.
And that's why one of the things I love about working with the guys at Lillian Stanley is they'll sit down with you and have a conversation about what you want. And it's a very big decision. Next to buying a house, it's the second most expensive thing you're ever going to buy.
Yep.
And if you get it wrong, it hurts. And I've been there. And I think the challenge is there's a lot of, especially I'm going to generalize here, but the younger car buyer may not have been there.
Nope.
And they make decisions without understanding the pain of getting it wrong.
That's it. And that's where we're here to save customers time and money above all, and offer a real personal service and tailor something to be spoken to.
Yeah. So I'm going to put all the details of Matt and Lillian Stanley in the details in the description below. If one of the things, I don't know whether we've mentioned, if you are going into a main dealer to buy a car, you may well find that, I'm going to use the word pressure almost, that you may well be under pressure to get the finance product from that main dealer. Yeah. And you might not get the best trade-in on your car, or they might not give you any discount on the car you're buying if you're not buying a finance product from them. And it's therefore easy to go, the easy choice is to wrap it all up and get it from them. And all I would say is have a conversation with a third-party finance provider. And obviously I'm going to say give Lillian Stanley a call and just have a conversation with them and see what they can do. Yep. At the end of the day, you are under no legal obligation to buy finance from the dealer that you're buying your car from. It's entirely up to you. It doesn't affect the way you buy the car, none of that. Nope. And I think some people think that that's the case. Yep. So shop around and take good advice. And really ask the questions, find out what that total cost of ownership's going to be, understand what your obligations are at the end of it, because it's important.
It is.
I'm kind of doing your job for you.
You're absolutely right though. And again, I'm reverting back to your car and us looking to upgrade. We want to build relationships with our customers, look after them time and time again. It isn't just all about there's your finance and away you go. Yep. So we only want to do the very best job we can and look after everybody. And
ultimately, we're sat here in a resetting of the car market that no one was forecasting when I bought my car, and I'm still in as good a position as I am, and I could have been even better. So, that gives me a great deal of confidence. In that hopefully we're not going to go through another resettling of it. But anyway, guys, if you've got any questions about car finance, put them in the comments below, and it'll be really interesting to kind of see what you think. What are your experiences? Have you had good experiences, bad experiences? And what do you think, which should I go for? GT4 or Carrera 2S Cabriolet?
So it's a big decision.
I'd like a 992 Turbo S Cabriolet, to be honest, but that's never going to happen. But Carrera 2S cabs 6 months ago were 100 grand plus.
Oh yeah. Very.
So the fact I can even think about one of those is unreal. But yes, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. A big thanks to Matt and Helen and all the team here at Lillian Stanley Finance, not just for today, but for the last couple of years of supporting me with my Porsche ownership. It's a great brand to work with, and hopefully we can,
see you in a new car soon.
Have a conversation about a new car. Anyway, guys, you take care. I'll see you on the next video. So we go and grab a coffee and I'm just going to get coffee. Oh dear, this could be an expensive video, this one.